Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Gamer Logic. I'm Unlimited Logic, Mike Murtis, and today we are reviewing a Super Nintendo game by the name of S.O.S. Now, the interesting thing about this game is there's actually two S.O.S's. One is the more serious version, which I have right here playing behind me, which I'm going to review in a little bit, obviously. And there's another one called S.O.S, which is actually Sink or Swim. And that's more of like a kiddie/platform game. Both of these aren't well known, but actually the kiddie version is a little more well known than this game here. So what this one actually is one of my favorite games that I actually used to rent from the video store on a fairly regular basis, and probably I want to say close to the mid-90s, maybe 94, 95-ish. Basically, the premise of the story is that there are a couple different characters that are on the ship, the Victoria, and each one has their own personal backstory. Like there's Cristof, who is on board the ship with his sick sister, just trying to get away from the family and live his life, and unfortunately he has to bring his sister with. And of course there is a medical doctor who gets separated his wife during a humongous accident, and there's a couple other characters. Now this humongous accident I speak of is right when you start the game. You kind of get a quick introduction to the character, what their purpose is on the boat, what they're doing there, and out of nowhere the ship gets rocked by this giant wave that basically capsizes the ship. And you wake up after being knocked unconscious, and you find that the boat is completely flipped upside down. The whole premise of the game is to kind of solve the objective, if you will, for your character. For example, Christopher, like I said, his sick sister was on board the ship. Well, he went out for a walk, and all of a sudden the ship turned over. Now he has to make it back to his sister's cabin, hope she's still alive, and see if he can get a hold of her and bring her out of the ship. The doctor's quest, for example, is to not only survive, but to see if he can find his wife. And on your way to kind of this main objective, the ship is going to keep rotating completely in 360 degrees, and it uses the Mode 7 graphics to a great benefit here, because you really get the feeling that the ship is rocking back and forth. Now, obviously you got your main goal, and your other main goal is to try to make it off the ship alive. But as you're walking through the ship and avoiding obstacles such as fires, giant pieces of furniture falling and nailing you and stuff like that, you're actually running into different survivors that may need an item in order to be healed, or some of them are just so baffled by what's happened that they just need to be talked to, and generally you can help them out. And from what I remember, I think you get about 7 or 8 survivors following you, and you lead them through the ship and help them out and try to get down to the boiler room, which actually has an emergency escape exit where you can travel to and bring these survivors and win the game. Now, the ending differs on a couple of situations. You can pretty much say, screw everybody, make your way down to the boiler room and win. But the ending will be depressing. It's the worst ending for each character if you just do that. The other ending is depending on how many survivors you bring with you. If you get a decent number of them, the dialogue and the ending kind of changes there. And finally, to get the best ending, from what I remember, you don't have to get a ton of characters, but if you get your main character goal, which again I'll use Cristof as an example. If you manage to get yourself and your sister out of there alive, I believe you get the best ending, if not the closest. So there are a couple of different things that can happen to make the game end accordingly. I mean, playing this, there was one occasion where I had like 3 survivors with me, and I had Cristof's sister, and the boat is just getting ravaged because you have a limited amount of time to get out of this boat. It's about half an hour before the ship completely sinks. And as time goes on, the ship starts sinking more and more and more, and it starts rotating more, and other stuff starts happening. And I was just about to get to the boiler room, and the ship just did a complete turnaround, and I managed to fall and hold on to an edge, and unfortunately Cristof's sister just went flying into the the abyss of the ship, and the only thing you could hear was her blood-curdling scream as she died. And you know, once the ship kind of got back on base and you looked around for it to see if you could find the body, there was nothing there. And you know, that's just kind of luck of the draw. There's no saving or continuing. It's a one-shot deal. If you get nailed by furniture or take a long fall, the game doesn't end instantly, but you do lose time. I think it's 5 minutes every time you fall, so if you make a mistake and keep making mistakes, eventually the ship just collapses completely underwater and you die. One other thing that can happen as an ending is if you don't die but you run out of time, the ship just completely submerges underwater and it just plays this creepy, haunting music as you're swimming in endless water and you're just breathing your last breath and you die. So I'd say if there's really any negatives about this game is sometimes the control is very picky, especially when you're dealing with survivors. There's a lot of time you can jump up and try to grab an edge and you won't. You gotta be in exactly the right position. And other times survivors you'll see like really dumb. Like there is a shoulder button you hit in order to call them over or tell them to stop, and you'll hit it and you'll be wondering where the hell are these people. So you go into the next room, you'll see that they're coming, pop back out, and it still takes a while for them to come. So sometimes that can get pretty annoying, especially when the ship is rotating and flipping from side to side and you need to get the hell out of there. So that's really my only negative about it. Otherwise, the amount of characters and stuff you can check out and the different paths you can take and different people you can meet really make the game unique in the fact that it's not always the same story that you'll get if you play it again. Things can change a lot. So if you're going to purchase this game, if you want it in a good condition, I've seen the prices range anywhere from like $15 to like $65. I was lucky enough to be able to pick up a copy on eBay for $4.99. Unfortunately, the cartridge was pretty beat up. I'm going to see if I can get a donor cart and switch them out so I can make it at least have a cleaner look to it. So, but if you don't want to go for the pay-for route, there's always emulation. You can check it out on emulation and see if it's worth it. Maybe if you do both, check the game out on emulation. If you really like it, buy it on MAME. Or buy it on MAME, I'm sorry. Buy it on Super Nintendo. Sorry, I got MAME on the brain. And that's pretty much it. Out of like a 10-star rating, I'd probably give it like a 7.5. The controls, like I said, do occasionally get annoying, and the survivors get annoying too, trying to pull them over. But overall, great game. Download it, check it out, and if you do, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, and hey, don't forget to check out my new music video. It has Street Fighter 4 characters in it. Actually, Street Fighter 4 characters from the Ties That Bind anime that came with Street Fighter 4. And the song I mixed the music video with was from my last album, Ergo. So check it out. And this has been another episode of Gamer Logic. Hope you enjoy. Probably the next episode we're going to do is actually going to have to do with Street Fighter. I've received a ton of stuff from Yuden and NECA and Capcom, and we're going to kind of try to do a mishmash of some Street Fighter stuff. So, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you soon, folks. You've been watching Gamer Logic. Peace.